Hey, what's up, guys? It's T-Bone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So in today's episode, I'm going to be covering the challenge bosses as well as the ultimate boss. Now, unfortunately, I only have the support card from this event. I wasn't able to pull the event card, so I couldn't actually show the polarity mechanic. But we do have the Reforged heroes from this event, and I am going to be talking about those as we take on the challenge boss. I am using a Soul Thresher that is also part of the collection hero this time. I did get him from the 5-star collection, and he's really good for dispelling fear. And so what I wanted to show here is that, this team actually can take out the boss in one shot, but I wanted to show that it does hit pretty hard and that it does, cast fear. And so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be taking out the boss here. So I have 2 copies of Thoth and also 2 of the Master Collection hero from the previous event. But the thing is, I believe that the starter pack for this event that's going to be coming on Saturday is going to be the pack that contains Ra, which is the event card version of Thoth. And so if you have a card that can generate Power Gem Force, you'll be able to deal similar damage against the ultimate boss as well. We'll be taking a look at the challenge bosses next, but first I wanted to show the rewards for taking on the ultimate boss. So you do get 10 mysterious fragments each time, and also ultimate tokens, and also a lot of trophies when you take out the ultimate boss for the first time. The first team we're going to show will feature the Reforged Flamefoot O'Hare. Now, prior to reforging, his leadership skill actually gives 400% attack and health boost to GVG. After reforging, it becomes 300% health and attack for all fire commanders, so it's safe to use him as a leader as well. I also have 2 copies of the Embered Morris Stance, which is the support card from the last Fire Dragon event, and then I also am using Soul Thresher as well as the support card from this event. So this team is actually all about invulnerability, and this is the perfect boss to be going up against because Catherine casts Thorns, which deals damage every time you attack. So the Ember Morris Stance does 2 things. It will passively create gems every time you attack, and its battle skill also gives you immunity. Also, the Reforged Flamefoot O'Hare also gives you immunity on its battle skill, including a nuke damage as well. And so with 3 of them, I'm able to be immune to damage for 3 turns straight, but each of these cards have a 5-turn cooldown. So if this was a long, drawn-out battle, I would have 2 turns where I would be getting damage. So that is something to keep in mind. And that is why I brought in Huntress Legata so that I can heal as well. However, because this is the first level of the challenge boss, with my 2 Generation 3 heroes, I'm actually able to deal enough damage without matching power gems to be able to take the boss out. Now the second boss here is Fast Gore, and it will actually cast Gem Silence. So Gem Silence is a little bit of a trouble for this particular team because Morris Stance will also get impacted by it. So Gem Silence also impacts passive abilities that create gems on match. So what you'll see here is when I match the gems, the second copy of my Morris Stance, the one that got hit by Gem Silence, actually does not passively create gems there. Only the one on the far left did. And so the other card that got hit by Gem Silence is Huntress Legata. Now, she actually heals as well as generate gems. And so you'll see here it doesn't actually work. And so this is something to pay attention to and to keep in mind when you use this kind of setup, is that Gem Silence is a pain. And so you do want to activate activate your Soul Thresher at this point earlier so that you can basically try to steamroll through the boss if possible, so that you don't have to worry about the Gem Silence hitting you, and it does impact your gem creation. So you will have to rely on the Reforged Flame O'Hare to give you invulnerability, but it has a 5-turn cooldown. Finally, we're on the Egmatron, which is the boss that casts Fear. So Fear is actually a spell that we're not really too concerned with this particular setup, because now it doesn't really matter. Our gem spawn abilities are not going to be impacted by Fear, and so what I'm going to be doing right now actually is I'm just going to be waiting the 7 turns. But I also wanted to see if I'm able to passively deal enough damage to be or deal enough damage without doing the power gem matches to be able to take it out. But I do need to, the health is bigger, a lot higher at this level, so I do have to use Soul Thresher. And so, basically this is where you can see that as the battle skills for Ember, Morris Dance, as well as Reforged Flamefoot O'Hare becomes available, you do want to make sure that you constantly activate it so that you could also stay alive longer. And now, so I believe there's just one more turn before the battle skill for Soul Thresher is available, and so we're basically just waiting for that 7th turn. It is a little bit longer, but with this particular setup and also Soul Thresher being able to dispel fear, you should have no problems here. It's just that if you don't have Soul Thresher, you don't have a card to dispel fear, the cards that the Morris Dance cards will be able to help out there. So now we have the battle skill available, and so what we're going to do is we're going to do a power gem match here, and it's a relatively longer match, but we were able to take out the challenge boss with relative ease here. And next we're going to be taking a look at another version of the similar deck that also uses the Reforged cards. So for my second team, I'm using Reforged Lepora, and I'm also using the turn delayer cards, 2 Fell Clan Bombers that you can farm from the campaigns really easily. I also have APEP here, which is a support card that is also available in the upcoming starter pack, and then I'm rounding out with the Soul Thresher. Now, the main challenge with playing this type of deck that uses the Fell Clan Bomber as the turn delayer is that you do need sufficient fire gems to be able to power up its battle skill. It does require 20 gems every time if you wanted to activate a skill, and so having cards that can actually get you enough gems every turn is going to be key. And that is one of the reasons why I brought in APEP. So APEP is a sort of a weaker version of Emperor Morris Dance in that every time it attacks, it will also generate fire gems. So that does help with getting the gems here. Now, what I want to do is talk about this particular engagement here. So we are up against Catherine, which casts Thorns. And if you can see here, after the first hit, I lost most of my health, but it's actually not too much of a concern. So the thing with Thorns is you will actually not lose health fully. You will go really low because it's based on a percentage, but it will never actually kill you. And so it's actually okay to get hit during this time as long as your turn delay is on. So by having the turn delay on, I'm safe from being hit by the boss that can actually kill me, but because it's actually turn delay right now, just the Thorns is actually not going to impact me at all. And so I can get hit as many times as I by Thorns, and I will never go down to 0 here. And so during this time, just focus on getting the gem matches here so that you can take out the boss. And you want to make sure that you have enough gems so you can charge up your 2 Fell Clan Bombers so you can use it in next turn. And so here what I've done is I've actually used my Soul Thresher and I used my Lepora. So Lepora will create 3 Power Gem 1s now, which is really nice. And so I've charged up my Fell Clan Bomber, and I'm going to be able to deal enough damage even though I only have one single Generation 3 hero to take the boss out. Now this is a level 1 challenge boss, so it is going to be tougher later on, but I think using this team, this is still relatively easy. And so now what we want to do is play it kind of like how you would a guild versus guild fight here, because you do want to make sure that you use the turn delayer card on your first turn to give yourself as much advantage as possible. A Vascor will generate will be casting Gem Silence, and you don't want the Gem Silence to be hitting either your Soul Thresher or your APEP so that you can get more gems to be able to take out the boss here. And so again, similar idea, every single turn you do want to try and match gems. Now, because this is a commander event, what's nice about commander events is as long as you have, if you have 5 commanders in there, you'll be able to generate at least that many gems. It's just that in this particular case, I only have 3 commanders. And so if I have less than 3 fire gems on the board, I will only fill up to 3. So that is something else to consider. And that's why having APEP here will help, because as long as you do a fire gem match, you're going to have sufficient gems there. And so we do need to wait a couple of turns here. The Soul Thresher is almost available, and so even though this is the second boss here, as long as we can get the power gems going, we'll be able to deal sufficient damage there, and that is what I'm doing right now. So we go ahead and activate all of the skills, and then we do a gem match here. And so connect the chain as much as you can if possible so that you can deal maximum damage. And this is the second boss. And so again, we get our Fell Clan Bomber skills ready, and then we activate it first. So it's basically rinse and repeat at this point. Now the thing is, we do have to deal with fear here, and so that is why I insist on bringing in Soul Thresher to help with fear. Now, if you don't have Soul Thresher, another card that you could potentially bring in is the Pumpkin Queen, because she does dispel cards that is considered a boss buff, which is what fear is. But because I have them, I'm using that to help with the dispel. And so just waiting for the servant turns here, and making sure that I keep the boss constantly turn delayed, because with this health level, the boss will actually be able to take me out with one hit here. And so just waiting to build up the power gems, and also just continue to match gems where possible. And we have so then the timing wise, Lepora does have a 5-turn cooldown, so her battle skill being available is an indicator that in 2 turns, Soul Thresher will be ready for you to be able to activate his skill. And if you take a look at the intensity count here, Soul Thresher uses the special intensity, and we're at 190 right now. And so we're able to fill up the board with quite a bit of gems here, and then again use Lepora's skill to add a couple more gems in there. And so with this, we're going to be able to have a 34 times multiplier and deal well enough damage to take out the boss in a single shot. And that is all for today's episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Now, if you do have the copies of Lepora and Flamefoot O'Hare and are thinking about whether or not you should reforge them, I actually don't think it's a bad idea to get them reforged. It does give you the Generation 3 stats, and you can deal pretty good damage with them. So anyways, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for the support. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.